Welcome, guys, to the Dr. Greg Show, November 6th, 2025. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome in to the United Communist States of America. Zoran being elected president will forever change the course of the United States. As we all know, he was sworn in earlier today, and we are all getting our new bills and jobs from the commune, and everything is. I'm getting my new job assigned soon. My children will be going into gymnastics professionally very soon. That's all happening. So, wow, it all is happening so fast. I can't possibly, it's all real. Everything that they said was going to happen did happen. I can't believe it, guys. Bruce is human, aka Charlie. Hey, I got my flu and COVID-19 vaccines yesterday. I've been dying to come on here and add. Let's go. Bruce is human. Hi, Bruce is human. Welcome in, man. Welcome in. Dude, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks so much for doing this, for coming in. Guys, let's give a huge first vaccine party to Bruce is human, guys. In 3, 2, 1. Yes. Nice. Welcome, man. Welcome in. That is awesome. All right. Cool. Welcome in, guys. MAVA, Make America Vaccinated Again. That is our thing. We are Make America Vaccinated Again. .org. Got the mug, guys. All right. Well. Oh, thank you for everything, guys. Thank you. Hi. We got a lot to go over. We've been going over some stuff in regards to the welcome report, in regards to what the Democrats can do differently going forward. I think that's like a really interesting. We've been going over the report, 60 pages long. We like to read original stuff here. We like to read really long reports. I know we're weird, but it's fun. You get to have graphs and learn. It's kind of a cool thing. We also are that's definitely not us. Hi, Edith. How's it going? We love the graphs. And in addition, guys, we need to change up the fight to the states. I think we need to change up and go to some different states. Can we get some actually progressive policies now instead of Democrats kowtowing to the moderates, Republicans? Bruce, I think that's a really good point. I think we have to, Charlie, we have to win the elections, man. I think that's the biggest thing. I'm down for that stuff. I think the more progressive policies, I like that Zoran is a mayor, right? Like trying that stuff, trying the new things so that we can make a case to the broader population. I think, like, for example, Stockton in California, their UBI experiment, that was a really good thing that we can show and say, like, hey, like, we got this. Hi, Eve. I got to vote to pass free school lunches at Colorado students for Colorado. That's awesome. And yeah, Nancy Pelosi is retiring, but just entering into the race, guys. I don't know if you heard. Nancy Pelosi is retiring, but just entering into the race is Pansy Pelosi. She is a new congresswoman that's just coming in. just trying for, their first try here. And we'll see how Pansy Pelosi does in her primary. But, we'll see. Thoughts on Trump making GLP-1 agonists affordable? I am a huge proponent of pharmaceutical tools to make people's quality of lives better. Genuinely, I think that, we have a huge problem in the United States with obesity. And I think that GLP-1 agonists are the biggest thing that people can have in their life that would be a huge quality of life improvement. So, genuinely, would I constantly want people to take it? I don't know. I don't think so. Although it does have some organ protective things that is very interesting. But my big point is that it's a tool that can help about 60 to 70% of the United States lead a better life, higher quality of life, that will increase their chance of living longer, more fulfilled lives. So I think it's kind of, genuinely, I think it's kind of cruel not to use it and allow that for people. Riddles, I think that you make it so cheap. I think what's going to happen. Oh, nice. I think, well, the side effects of GLP-1 agonists are definitely a lot less than whatever the side effects morbid obesity has. Morbid obesity is the cofactor for everything, every disease, basically. It's awful. I have a PhD in microbiology. I'm a molecular biology bench scientist by trade. I've done genetics, nanotechnology, that kind of stuff too. I've did all my papers are actually on my link tree in my profile if you wanted to check them out. It's impossible that he can change a private market. Genuinely, Jenna, I do think that we should honestly think about privatizing it or nationalizing it. I mean, nationalizing patent-free vaccines that we could give out to the world for free, that we could produce for ourselves. And then GLP-1 agonists would be a part of that too. I think that's a good thing. What if you have heart problems? I mean, if you have heart problems, the number one killer in the United States, 400,000 people a year die from heart disease, and that's directly related to obesity. So if you have heart problems, you definitely don't want to be obese. So you would definitely want GLP-1 agonists. Absolutely. Yeah, and I guarantee you, hypertension and morbid obesity, check those two out. They scale together. So again, you want to lose weight. Yeah, for sure. Darby O'Neill, welcome to the show. Hi, Darby. How's it going?
Doing pretty good.
Oh, it's John.
But
how's it going, Darby?
It's going pretty well. How you doing?
Okay, good.
What do you specialize in? Hello?
Yeah? What's up?
I asked you what you specialize in.
Microbiology. Yeah, it's a troll, Ducre. Yeah.
A lot of y'all don't understand he ain't on your side.
Who isn't on my side?
You aren't.
Yeah.
You don't care about these people and you know it. Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Oh, Darby.
Can you assist?
Darby.
Can you assist this over there?
Oh, there's Darby. There's you got a big gas leak on your side, guy.
Oh, hold up.
Oh, my God. And is there a baby crying there, too? Oh, my God. Darby, what's going on? You got a lot going on, bro. I gotta let you, Oh
I'm
my.
sorry about that.
Yeah,
Hold
yeah,
up,
it's a
I got
lot
a real
going on,
question
bro.
for you.
You gotta probably deal with
I
that.
got
You
a
know.
real question
Yeah,
for
you gotta.
you.
Yeah. Request later, bro. You can deal with that,
No,
okay?
hold up. I'm
Yeah.
done with my flatulence.
No. I feel that's
I'm done
still
with
is
my
pretty.
flatulence.
It's
Oh,
pretty.
round
It's
two.
violent. It's
Round two.
violent. Okay.
Round two.
Okay. See you, Darby. Okay. All right. That, you know what? That was his first fart thing was his. That was his. Usually it's mine. He beat me to it though. I was gonna start farting on him and he farted on me. So there you go. My hypertension is only in my lungs. I don't know if that's right, Linda. I would talk to your physician. Richard Payton.
Hey, Dr.
Hi.
Greg, good to
How's it
see you
going?
again, man.
Hey.
Good. I'll tell you what. As a result of our last sort of interaction, I went back and even though, and I think I've told you, I'm not a scientist. I was trained differently
Yeah.
in a different sort of.
One
But
one second, real quick, dude. Nar 4. Let's go 6 vaccines today with the family. Good job, dude. All right, we're gonna give him a little vaccine party real quick. Give it up for Nar 4, guys. In 3, 2, 1. Yes, Mava for sure. There you go, brother. Thank you. Cheers to you. Cheers to you, my friend. All right. Sorry about that, Richard. How's it going?
no. I'll tell you what. Honestly, as I said to you, the last time we interacted,
Yeah.
I I believe in vaccines. I think they're very, very important.
Cool.
And I've always been that way. But a couple of things that I did read and I wanted your input on was that some of the mNRA, RNA stuff, they've actually shown that there does seem to be some very positive effects on how it can actually deal with cancer. I just wanted sort of your
Yeah.
input and your insight on that.
Yeah. So that just came out last week. It was
Yeah.
basically. So basically, what happens is our. Sorry, I'm getting an echo. Sorry.
Sorry, it's my fault.
No problem. Yeah. Hi, Ashley. So basically, what happens is that the mRNA is acting as a way that the immune system can kind of get primed and revved up a little bit, and it's allowing the immune system to better attack the cancer's cells and detecting them better. So they actually did a test on cancers in mice that basically gave them both cancers, and then gave the with or without the mRNA shot, the COVID shot, and then they saw some positive correlation there, and then they went and said, well, if that's true, then we should see that in people that have that have had the COVID shot and the boosters. So they looked, and it was such a big difference. The people with the mRNA vaccines were living so much longer and outliving the people that were unvaccinated so much that it actually they had to finally like stop the study because they were outliving them so much that they kind of they didn't have like an endpoint. They're still living. So with the unvaccinated people had died so long ago. So anyway, the point is that there is some type of positive correlation with mRNA vaccines and like an ability to live a little longer on cancer with the cancer.
Well, and the reason that I kind of looked at that was because my family, you can't really necessarily say that cancer is genetic, but
It
you
is
can sit there and
about
well,
20% of
I
cancers
mean,
are genetic. Yeah.
well, I think there's probably more of a propensity. But anyway, again, my data is probably about 15 to 20 years old, so study has gone a little bit more. But obviously, somebody looks at something and they say, "Oh, well, yeah, cancer studies." I obviously always pay a little bit closer attention to that
Yeah.
because it's touched my family and all of that. But
Yeah.
more than anything, I do want to say this: I really do appreciate what you do. It's also really, really, really very nice to actually talk to and engage a scientist who,
Nice, man.
in my opinion, is unbiased, and just kind of willing to share, for lack of a better term, willing to just share facts. I appreciate that.
Sweet.
You have no idea how much I enjoy that.
Oh, thank you, Richard. I really appreciate you saying that, man. Yeah, I feel like
Oh,
so I started it in 2021, like doing science communication. I feel like it was, you know, just wanted to give people like a forum to ask science questions or honestly I don't know a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? I'm not an expert on everything, you know. So I have an expertise in algae nanotechnology, which is like a very sub sliver of knowledge. So I'm learning a lot. So a lot of it is like looking up things and like looking through new reports or kind of, you know, talking through things. And but I appreciate you saying that. I really do.
well, there is one thing that kind of reminds what you just said reminded me of something that one of my. Let me ask you: are you a fan of baseball by chance?
Interesting that you say that. I just watched the World Series all the way through. My son is playing t-ball for the first time, and
Well done, man.
yeah, so I'm like getting into it. I haven't watched baseball like in a really long time, and you know what, dude, I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I really like it now. Like because you can know where the action is. You know what's happening at every single point of time. You know where to look. It's easy to follow. There's a bunch of stats, a bunch of data. Yeah, it's been really fun. It's been really, really fun.
Well, the reason I bring that up was because I was going to reference, I think, one of the best managers of all time who made what I believe is a fairly interesting analogy to what you just said about you not being an expert on a lot of things.
Hmm.
Tony La Russa, somebody asked him once.
Yeah.
Tony La Russa won World Series both in the National League and the American League. They actually said, "Well, Tony, you were trained as a lawyer. Doesn't that limit your ability?"
Yeah.
And if I remember reading the article correctly, and this came out in the early '90s, and we said, well, he said, yes, I was trained as a lawyer, but while I have a very specific area of knowledge and expertise,
Hmm.
what I do know is that not only do I not know things, but it also forces me to look for answers where I don't have answers to things. So,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I mean, if somebody who I hold in high regard has that same sort of mindset, I hold you in very high regard, has a very similar mindset, you know,
Thank you, man.
I want people to ask questions.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And that's just a good thing.
Yeah, I think you know, being wrong is an opportunity to learn. You know, that's the first step in learning. So I feel
Sure.
like being wrong is actually a really important thing to be. So it's like, like genuinely, pushing your knowledge and trying to test things and try to learn. And I think the problem with social media is that it kind of pushes everyone to have a take, and they have to defend everything constantly. So they have to just
Yeah.
die by that sword constantly, and they can't ever make a correction or be like, oh, okay, yeah, I actually screwed up there. I mischaracterized this thing. Like last night, I mischaracterized something, and we went through and we read about it for an hour, and it was like a really illuminating thing for me. So yeah, it happens all the time. I
I
think,
appreciate that.
yeah,
I
thank you.
appreciate that. And you know what? I know that there might be some other people that want to join. Again, thank you. I follow your lives whenever they're available. I
Cool.
appreciate what you do. Keep up the good work, and I hope to interact again with you very soon.
Awesome, dude. Thank you, Richard. I really appreciate you always coming up,
Hey, man,
man.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you, I'll tell you what, you have a great evening. And at some point, next time we talk,
Hmm.
I do want to ask one thing, and I'll just put this kind of in your wheelhouse so you can cogitate.
Hmm.
I do kind of like one thing
Hmm.
that, because I saw something that Dr. Jay Bhattacharya said.
Okay.
I know you might have an issue with him, but he
Okay.
said, that really what he wants the NIH to do, and it kind of, and to me, it sort of makes sense in what you were saying, specifically regarding failure is not necessarily a bad thing. He
Yeah.
says, that he wants to transform the NIH. He wants to transform the NIH so that if people do make mistakes, that it's a learning experience. And again, this is coming
Sure.
from a guy that was a teacher.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
we'll have that conversation at
Sure.
a different point in time.
Okay.
You have a wonderful evening.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Have a good
It was
one,
a
man.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Good.
It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Hi, Ellie. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. Over 4 billion paid out to vax injuries. Yeah, so what you're talking about is like the national vaccine thing, you know, that was made and that people pay into every time that they get a vaccine, 75 cents. And it was made so that it was easy to pay out. And what happens is that people will go in there, and a lot of anti-vaxxers go in there trying to prove vaccine injuries and stuff, and they think in their mind it legitimizes their medical condition when in reality you don't actually need to prove anything medical in order to get paid out. Over 60% of those cases get paid out because it's just not worth the time or the money by that panel, and they pay a lot of people out, and that's how RFK gets paid a lot. So RFK is the middleman and refers people to lawyers that go and get paid by those funds. So that's why RFK gets all his money. That's where he gets a lot of money. He gets a commission, a referral commission, and then on top of that, he gets a percentage of what people get when they actually go and get their money. So, yeah, so there you go. It is easy to pay out. No, it literally was created for the fact that because you can sue the pharmaceutical companies, but they wanted it to make it easier than suing a pharmaceutical company to pay out. And that was the entire reason why it was created. Yeah. No, vaccines aren't dangerous. No, they don't have immunity from being sued either. Yeah, you're not right. You're not right there. Hi, Sabano. How's it going? Welcome in. Triple J, I'm not a physician, so I don't have any answers for you. So I'm sorry, other than asking and talking to your physician. Yeah, medicine. I would think that, that doesn't mean it came from the vaccine. So basically, there have been a lot of heart issues with people from COVID, and just because you got the vaccine doesn't mean that you are prevented from getting COVID. So, it could have been another issue. It could have been a genetic issue. It could have been an actual long COVID issue, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's from the vaccine. No, it's more likely that you actually have it from COVID itself. Yeah. No stick, dude. I'm just a scientist. So yeah, I'm a scientist. People come in and ask questions. We talk the politics, science, everything in between. Yeah, that's it. There's no shtick. That's it. All right. I wanted to go over that report still. Ezra Klein has a really interesting. My specialty, I have a microbiology PhD. I did my PhD on DNA delivery to algae by carbon nanotubes, which was pretty cool. And I've been in molecular biology and genetics for 16 years. So. I don't know what CDH is. I don't know what that is. Oh, wow. SIADH is Syndrome of Inappropriate Antidiuretic Hormone Secretion. It's a condition where the body produces too much antidiuretic hormone, ADH. ADH helps the kidneys retain water, leading to low blood sodium levels. Yeah, medicine. There's like a lot of like diseases and stuff that would cause that. So like COVID causes a lot of heart issues too, and there's actually 600% more myocarditis and heart problems with COVID than there is than with the vaccine. So if your cardiologist automatically said that it was a vaccine that did that to you, I would probably get a new cardiologist because they probably don't know what they're talking about. So. So why is there a warning on the website about heart problems related to COVID-19? Yeah. So again, yeah, e.g., there's more heart problems with a COVID infection than there are with the vaccine. So that's just a fact. The Myocarditis Foundation talks about this. It's like 600% more. All right. Correlation does not mean causation, basically. Okay. So we are talking about the welcome report, deciding to win. We've been going through this. We went through the first chapter. There's like 6 chapters, 7 chapters, guys. We have got to make a booking on it. And the idea is that this is a way that they can use data in science and political science in order to better hone what the Democrats' message is going to be going forward. So, well, all right, we are in the second chapter. All right. So, we are here. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I mean, so the idea that it's automatically going to be from a vaccine is not supported by science. I mean, this just doesn't make any sense because, like I said, did you have a COVID infection during that time? Like, again, it was you're 600% more likely to have a heart problem with myocarditis or pericarditis with COVID than you are the vaccine. So, and if you did have a heart problem, it's actually more likely that the vaccine helped deter or bring down the severity of the actual event. So there's actually a good chance that it would have been way worse if you weren't vaccinated. That's what the science says. There's been no like long-term. Yeah, so again, yeah, medicine. So you can have SARS-CoV-2 and you can have a SARS-CoV-2 infection and not know about it. It's an asymptomatic infection. So that's what we've found, that it exists. So unless you were testing yourself every day, what I'm saying is that you might have like something like long COVID where you have persistent infection of an organ, which is what happens. You're basically unable to cure and stop the infection of SARS-CoV-2 in your body. And that what I'm saying is that you might be leading down a road for stuff that you might not get a resolution for. Hi, Life with Bree. How's it going? All right. All right. So, vaccines are safe and effective and good. People should take vaccines always. If you're safe, if you're healthy, Absolutely. It's the way that we create a better society and have science and better informing our lives and public health is through policies like public health and with technologies like vaccines. So yeah, they're very, very important. They're not, I mean, vaccines are not only just important for you, they're important for the people around you. It's 50% of kids used to die before antibiotics and vaccines. So we're talking about 4 million people a year that are saved, 4 million children that are saved every year because of vaccines, and 1 million adults every year. So it's a huge thing. I don't have an answer for everything. I literally say that when I don't know, and I don't know a lot of things. I say it all the time. Yeah, we're talking about living children. By definition, they're unborn. So how are vaccines going to save them? Once they're living, then they're saved by a vaccine. How did society or the human population survive so many years without vaccines? Doesn't clean water help? Yeah, so, I mean, 150, 200 years ago, the population of humans was smaller and people died at 30 to 35 years old. So, and 50% of children died. So, yeah, we used to have 30 different diseases that would run rampant through our population and at any given time have local outbreaks that would cause communicable disease spread and harm people. And we don't have that now. So it's better. We are more healthy with vaccines and with science. No, heartbeat does not mean you're living. Hep B vaccine is very important. You should get it. Again, medicine. So you can have SARS-CoV-2. You're conflating COVID and SARS-CoV-2. So SARS-CoV-2 is the virus, like HIV, and then COVID is the disease, like AIDS. So you can have HIV, not develop AIDS. You can have SARS-CoV-2, not develop COVID-19, and it's important. That's so you can have. You can have SARS-CoV-2 in your system, and you don't have enough viral load in order to change it into COVID-19. Yeah, it happens, medicine. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, Joey, I know exactly what I said, and I didn't stutter. So you know what I said. Yeah, you want to get it. Yeah, it's Hep B vaccines for newborns are important, and it saves people from chronic infections, and it's a really good thing. Yeah, so you don't know. So basically, prenatal care has, it's not that doesn't happen in this country. So basically, in the United States, you don't have a lot of moms that are going into the doctor constantly. They're not doing their STD screens before, and once they come in and they present to the emergency room, what are they going to do? They're going to put them into a test for Hep B, and that test takes days, but they're going to have a baby in a lot quicker time than that. So basically, the Hep B vaccine allows that baby not to get a vertical transmission through the birth canal. So it's a really important thing to get, and it doesn't cause deleterious effects. It helps people with not have Hep B, and Hep B as a kid is a chronic condition. So it's that 90% of those cases are chronic conditions for life, which is awful. No, not all of them do life with breed. No. Rock cannot have a heartbeat. there isn't a black box warning on the vitamin K shot, and the vitamin K shot's not even a vaccine. So it's very important. Literally, the vitamin K shot is just to stop brain bleeding. So, yeah, that's vitamin. Saying no to the vitamin K shot is absolute insanity. Okay, I'm sorry to hear that, Robin. No, yeah, see, that's the thing. Most moms, Bree. So what you're saying is that the ones that don't have it, what do you do with them? And that's the thing, is that we have a patchwork healthcare system in our country, and vaccines are a great way to plug those problems and to help the kids and to give them lifelong protection on something that they could be exposed to in the birth canal and just like on the playground too. So there's a lot of things. The COVID shots are safe and effective, and you should get them. They're actually showing anti-cancer effects, and and it protects you against long COVID, which is an important thing. Inject babies just in case. Yeah, with the vaccines. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because not everyone is getting all the health, all the prenatal screens that they have, that they can. The countries that have no Hep B at newborns. I mean, we're talking like way, 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 way higher rates of prenatal care. Um, and we don't have that. We just don't have that type of. We don't have that type of. We don't have that type of healthcare system. So reactions are okay. So Bree, tell me what a Hep B infection does. No, I'm not talking about those countries without clean water, Brie. I'm talking about like European countries that are industrialized just like we are. Tell me what a chronic Hep B infection is like. We're not going to talk vaccine side effects the entire time, and unless we're going to talk about the actual dangers, which is the dangers of these viruses. Because a lot of you anti-vaxxers in chat right now don't believe that viruses are real, and you don't think that viruses cause disease. So I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke when you guys don't even think that viruses are real. So tell me what the viruses look up. Look up virus. No, you look up what vitamin. You look up what Hep B does. How about you look up what Hep B does? I know exactly what virus is. You're a coward, and you refuse to get in the box. So I'd rather be a hypocrite than a coward. I know. That's the thing, Rapture. These people just don't want to anymore. Yeah. Nice. There you go, Chatty Patty. Good job. Rules for thee, not for me. I've gotten every single vaccine. Like, what are you talking about? What rules for thee, not for? I have 4 children, and we all got every single vaccine on time. Every single booster, everything. My wife got the COVID vaccine while pregnant. Like what are you talking about? I know exactly, Leanne. That's so funny. Yeah, what's wrong with boosters? I've gotten how many flu boosters in my life? I've gotten like since I was a year old, I've gotten flu shots every year. Like how many flu boosters have I gotten? I don't miss anything, Idrin. You can just get in the box and or you just sit and chat like a coward. Nice. Yeah, try exactly. Nice. Well, I'm sorry, KDS. I'm sorry about that, but I'm happy that you're still getting vaccinated. Yeah, they're getting 72 shots because they're they're not getting 72 shots. They're getting by 18 years old. They've gotten most of their shots. By 4 years old, you've gotten most of your series. So again, that's just wrong. They've gotten vaccinated, and but most of the vaccines are double or tripled up, so they're not getting 72 shots like as kids. It's just you're just wrong. I got my degree from podcasters. Okay, it's funny. Hi, madam. How's it going? More shots, more money. Not really, dude. I don't get. Yeah, you realize that that pharmaceutical companies and healthcare providers actually make more money from a disease infection than a vaccine, right? You realize that, right? $100 COVID, I mean, sorry, $100 MMR vaccine versus per cost of the measles outbreaks in Oregon was $45,000. So like what do you think, man? Like $45,000 versus $100. What do you think would be better? But there's more money in the anti-vaccine movement. It's the actual conspiracy is that you guys are actually working for pharmaceutical companies because you're increasing the healthcare costs of the entire country, and what you're doing is that you're working you know, in concert with the healthcare insurance companies because everyone's healthcare insurance will go up because of the outbreaks and measles. So if anything, it's you guys, man. You guys are raising the healthcare costs of everyone, not to mention you know, the actual quality of life harm. Vaccines don't cause long-term harm. Okay, Joey, so you're just selfish. I mean, you're just a selfish person. No, they don't. Vaccines do not cause long-term harm. No, your baby is not proof of anything. Your baby being alive is proof that vaccines are good and they are effective. Nice, Declan. See, there you go. Was raised in a big anti-vax echo chamber, came to my senses, now time to get shot up. Nice. Nice, Declan. Good job. Nice. Bare necessity. You are awesome, man. Wow. Bare necessity. Incredible. I gotta change everything over, guys, so we can get some new stuff. So guys, let's give it up to bare necessity. Spam X in chat for actions. 3, 2, 1. Yes. 359. Incredible, man. That is so cool. No, I don't think you didn't want to win a case. You just got a settlement from the vaccine thing. That's not, you didn't prove anything. They settled out of court with you. So that's, again, you didn't prove anything. That's the whole reason why the whole thing is set up to pay people off so that people, because I just know. I just know. Okay, send it to me. Yes, bare necessity vaccines do settle lives. No, they don't, Joey. It's just faster and easier for them just to settle. It's just what it is. That 95% of cases in the United States they settle out of court. It is what it is. How do we know that vaccines save lives to be a fact? because kids. Oh, how's it going, Maria? Thank you. Hi. How's Europe? Um, I Why settle if you're so confident in the product? Because that's just what they do. Because it costs less money to settle than to just drag through court. I don't make up facts, Joey. Okay, yeah, I'm sure, Bree. I'm sure there isn't any protection for deaths and injuries. They can still sell. You can absolutely sue all the pharmaceutical companies for deaths and injuries. You definitely can. How do we know this to be the fact? Truth seeker, because one, you can find before vaccines, people were dying of the diseases, right? The diseases were causing people. Thank you. Thank you, Mush. How's everything going? The kids were dying of disease. We got up to 1,000 vaccines, Mush. 1,031. And people are doing political actions here. So emails and phone calls. 359 emails and phone calls, if you can believe it, Mush. Kids died of diseases, and they don't die in those diseases anymore. We don't have outbreaks of over 30 different diseases because of this. So now, how do we know? It's because they're not dying. That's why. That's why, that's what it is. Are you in Europe? How do you know that the kids were dying because of the little particles? Okay, truth seeker. So you don't believe in viruses. You don't think that viruses are real. You don't think that germ theory is real. So that's your problem. Kids don't die of vaccines. No. And no, should we take that chance? No. The chance, the bigger chance, the biggest killer, no, they don't, is that they die of diseases. So no, there's no link of SIDS with vaccines. Again, that's just nonsense. Yeah, you're just wrong. No, you're not. You're wrong. Okay, so then do you think that polio was caused by a virus? Because a lot of people don't. That are truth seekers like yourself. Okay, Bree. Okay, that they didn't die from a vaccine. I'm sorry. It's really awful of you to actually use the death of your baby to harm other babies. I'm sorry that it happened to you, but the fact that you are leveraging your loss in order to hurt other children is reprehensible, and it's not okay that you do that. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's just what it is. What part of vaccines don't kill people do you not understand? Yeah, they just don't. They don't, guys. Like the diseases kill people. Okay, diseases from viruses kill half of kids before, right? Half of kids used to die, right? As an infant, they used to die because they didn't have an immune system that could fight back against the diseases and everything. So the fact that I have 4 kids, I would probably have 2 kids right now if it wasn't for vaccines and antibiotics. So that's what the truth is. I don't know that why I'm asking. How do we know the thing, whatever it is, causes that polio? So you don't. So yeah, truth seeker, you don't believe in viruses. So yeah, you don't believe that viruses are real. You don't believe in germ theory, dude. I can't really do much. Yeah, that's a good question. Do anti-vaxxers vaccinate their pets? A lot of them don't. So that's why a lot of rabies and stuff are on the rise. So they aren't vaccinating their pets. It's very dangerous, actually. Watch the show Vaxxed and you'll maybe change your tune. I I'm a scientist, so I read papers, I read reviews. Like I don't need to watch propaganda films to tell me what to believe. That's pretty embarrassing to do that. I feel like I wouldn't admit that in public. So why do they need protection from killing people? They don't. I mean, there are opportunities that you can sue them. You can sue them. So they're not protected against that. Like malice and stuff, you can absolutely still sue them. It's just that, like, if you were dragging Pfizer through like court constantly for civil complaints and so, like in regards to vaccines, they wouldn't make it. They wouldn't make the vaccines anymore. So that's why they aren't. You're not allowed to go into court and just sue them with like punitive damages for civil lawsuits and stuff. Yeah, I mean you can Google whatever you want, dude. Oh wow, first time I learned what vaccines do is learning our cat unalive because he didn't get his distemper vax. Oh my gosh, Rapture, I had no idea. Wow. People have, yeah, Deegan, that's a really good point. There's over 800 cases in Texas alone. Jessica Kristen, yeah, with Grok, yeah, it's interesting. I wonder what they actually say. How open-minded is science if I can't observe a counter theory? Harris, that's not how. Yeah, that's not how it works, man. Like, you can have your own hypothesis, you can test it, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be a scientific mainstream. Yeah, yes, silly burn. Like I said, if there's like they had um like malice in their manufacturing or how they handled it or negligence, you can absolutely sue them still. But yeah, you can't just sue them for civil lawsuits. And in order to make it easier, in order for people to get paid out, that's why that 1987 vaccine council law that created that panel to pay people. So every vaccine that's administered, 75 cents is given to that slush fund basically, and people go in there, and anti-vaxxers like yourself, to try to, because they can't get anything proven medically, they go to these slush funds and try to get money out of that in order to validate their claims. Oh my gosh. Their dog gets autism from vaccines. No, sad, dude. Wait, so you just have to prove malice? Yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, intent. Yeah, you have to prove intent and prove negligence. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you said. I don't know you saying that because I called it a thing. Okay, a virus. How do you know that it paralyzed my dad? Yeah, so you don't exactly. So you don't know, bro. His his dad's paralyzed with polio, and he's asking me if a virus is what did it. It's like we can. There's a lot of different ways that we've isolated viruses, bro. That we know that viruses cause disease. So I'm sorry, but it's true, man. It's true. People have lied to you. If you are using that, is this like your cool little thing that you think that you're unique and being a skeptic about, and that you understand like this cool little question to ask? Like, people lied to you, and I'm telling you the truth. That vaccines are safe. Viruses cause disease. Viruses cause the diseases that killed a lot of people until technology and science helped us improve people's lives and stop that from happening. Nice, share. You're awesome. I don't know how any of that's misinformation, Anthony. Okay, dude, you are awesome. Vaccines. 360 share. You are amazing. Let's give it up for share in 3, 2, 1. Boom. You're amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cher. You're awesome. Guys, if you didn't know, this is not just a just a stream. We are on the warpath to stop the 432 anti-science Maha bills that are plaguing our country. And we are trying to vaccinate our legislation from the scourge that is infected it. And we are these are our political actions, our anti-vaxxer chatter friends. 360 emails and phone calls that we have made as a community to try to stop this nonsense from happening. 360 phone calls people went to action.drgregshow.com. And what they did was, we have email templates, we have call templates, we have state by state ways that people can get involved, and we are actually making a change, and we are actually helping to improve our communities. So we've gotten 1,031 vaccines, and we've done 360 different political actions to try to better our communities. Thank you. So thank you, Mush. Do I have to go to bed soon, Grandpa? No, actually, Watch Turn, you should actually, the next time that I'm going to bed, you should call your dad, and you should realize that your dad is the one that lets me know when I'm going to bed, because your mom is ready and waiting for me in their bed, in their marriage bed. And I give her happiness that she has never felt before in her life until me. And your father rings me up, and that's when I know when I need to go to bed with your mom. Good night, Mush. Nice, Chatty Patty. Yeah, send an email. Watch Term, are you back? Are you okay? Are you okay, Watch Term? Are you all right? I don't think he came back after that one. Oh, we are making America vaccinated, my friends. Merch coming soon. Thank you, communist. Thank you. Thank you. No, Braden. Dang, that's such a small amount, K-Bug. That's amazing. Truth Seeker, you don't. Okay, you just get in the box if you want to have this conversation or not, dude. It's impossible to have this conversation. If you actually wanted to learn, I'm here for you. I will talk to you, but you have to get in the box, because you can't really have a conversation over text, bro. That's the truth. That's the truth. Thank you, Chatty Patty. Thank you so much for the gifts, guys. Thank you, Chatty Patty, Bailey, Helen, Cher, Rapture, Heather, Leslie, Jude, Just Kristen, Gina, K-Bug, Neek. Thank you guys so much. All right. Now. Yes. All right, guys. Oh, that was a little hot. Got a little anti-vax hot, old school. Nobody ever wants to jump in anymore. It's very sad. It's important to indirectly support the happiness of so many mods. Exactly, Rapture. Do you have any links or studies showing that they don't cause diseases so that we can pass it along? showing that the vaccines don't cause diseases, or that they're safe and effective. 8007. Yeah, you know what? I I I think that I need to have a better answer to that 8007. Thank you for yeah. I There's so many studies that it's honestly hard to give you one. You know what I mean? But and I'm realizing now I need to get a better answer for that, so that I can just give someone like an info. That's actually probably that's a good thing to make an infographic about. Thank you for the idea, 8007. I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. I mean um go to scholar.google.com, and then you can like look up whatever you want, but that's probably the best that's the best way to get the scientific stuff on it. But an infographic would be easy and shareable, and I'll work on that. Thank you. Advice, please. How do I get my friend to see vaccinating their daughter is safe? Oh no, Clever Fox. um Clever Fox, you always want to ask questions. That's the thing. You just ask questions like, why do you believe this? Where are you getting this information from? Why do you think that um, the entire medical industry is yeah, she definitely, but the you're never going to be able to reason someone out of a position like that, Clever Fox. You're gonna have to ask questions, and she's gonna have to do the work herself in order to make that leap and become better educated. That's just how it's gonna happen. You can plant the seed, but it's up to her to water it. You know what I mean? So just asking questions is a really good way to do it. Yeah. And honestly, like ChatGPT has a lot of the good answers for people, like basic questions about vaccines and stuff like that. It's a good thing. Yeah. Yeah, Maria. Yeah, always asking questions is a good one. Link for just one blinded proper placebo test. Yeah, Rodent, they did it. They did it with the COVID vaccines too. They did them stage 2 trials. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's another like misinformation thing that people um say, and it just kind of Rodent, it just shows that you haven't read any of the things yourself, man. So instead of like going and just perpetrating this, you should go and read the studies yourself. How do you sort through the misinformation versus personal experiences of people that you know? I mean, anecdotes don't really mean that much, because correlation doesn't mean causation. So you can have someone that has an anecdote, but that doesn't mean that those two things are actually linked together. It's a really important thing to understand, that correlation, the two events that are happening together, doesn't actually mean that one caused the other. And how we figure out what caused one another is science and studies and meta-analyses and that kind of thing. It's a lot harder. I am a microbiology PhD. Nope, Rodent. No, that's not true at all. You're actually 600% more likely to have a bad uh, effect from COVID than you are to have the vaccine. So yeah, this is just exactly wrong, man. RSV is for that virus? Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Clever Fox. What do you believe? Why do you believe it? Well, how did you come to that? Just asking questions like that. And a lot of times people were excited to tell you, right? And it's like, Clever Fox, what I do like on here, I mean, we call it the list, which is the list of scientific consensus that we can all agree on. Oh, I just thought of one. So, like germ theory, do you think that viruses cause disease? A lot of people that don't. A lot of people don't. Um, the lab leak. Do you think that the virus came from the lab? The moon landing. Do you think that the moon landing happened? Do you think that space is a projection? Do you think that the Earth is flat? Do you think that there's a 6,000-year-old Earth? Do you think that gravity is fake? Do you think that evolution didn't happen? Do you think that dinosaurs are fake? Do you think that climate change is real? Do you think that vaccines are safe and effective? Do you think that plate tectonics is real? These are scientific consensus questions, and the question, the point is that if you think that vaccines aren't safe and effective, you think probably about 90% of those conspiracies are real. That's just the truth. Because once you've been infected with a conspiracy theory, a foundational conspiracy, you kind of like it erodes at the base of all your other scientific thinking. And that's why people think that stuff. So, Clever Fox, the idea with this stuff isn't to like debate them on all these things. The thing is, the interesting point is, which one do they think is real? Which one do they think is real? And that's the interesting part. So like, why do you think that plate tectonics is real? Like, what do you mean? Have you ever seen the plates or anything like that? And that's the idea, is that you have, why do you accept scientific consensus in this issue, but you don't accept it in vaccines? So that's the idea. And that's a really interesting discussion. No, Truth Seeker, we know it's what are you talking about? That's not a causation. Yeah, it absolutely is causation, because we know that they died of the disease, and we know that viruses cause the disease. So that is why that's why it's not a correlative event now. It's a causative event. Yeah, exactly, K-Buck. They don't think that the diseases are real. They think that the diseases are called by terrain theory. So they don't think that the diseases are caused by viruses. They think that the disease is caused by terrain, which is the environment, basically. The RSV is not like the flu shot. You get it yearly. You get it. The flu shot is different. Scientific consensus is absolutely a thing. Yeah, it actually absolutely is. Yeah, you are Todd. You're misunderstanding what science is about. I'm actually really interested in science and conspiracy theories too, Winter. I think that it's really interesting to see what people believe and why they believe it. Oh, thank you, Rigel. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand the principles of the scientific theory. Yeah, for sure, dude, for sure. Um, Once you realize you have been lied to, you question the rest. Critical thinking in science. Yeah, Rodin, exactly. So that you're showing exactly what I'm talking about. That your brain has been a little bit rotted on this stuff, and you've been identified by these AI algorithms as conspiratorial. So you're getting pushed these conspiracy theories at you. Oh, thanks, Clever Fox. Awesome. Yeah. I've never heard of Galileo. Yeah, for sure. Nice, Winter. I like that. You try to think of a conspiracy theory on the thought on spot. That's hilarious. No, scientific consensus isn't grouped into an echo chamber. That's the whole point. That's what it. So you don't understand what a scientific consensus is. Is there a study done on people that believe in conspiracy versus people that don't? Yes, K-Bug. Yes. There are more conspiratorial people. Are usually like less educated, and they're more confident in their beliefs. So, yeah, it's very, very interesting. Yeah, I personally, I think the revolution happened with Kepler, not Copernicus. Personally, I think Kepler, what set him apart from Copernicus is that he had differing ideas than what he thought was going to be. He saw through the telescope. He had an hypothesis. He saw an observation that didn't take with his hypothesis, and instead of discounting it, he wove the new theory into what it was. I thought that's where the real, Copernicus obviously made a big jump, but yeah, I think Kepler, the addition of the Tycho Brahe's amazing telescope and his new data that they hadn't thought about before, and that altering his hypothesis was an interesting thing. Anyway, I was just joking and trolling, not knowing him about Galileo. Okay. Nice stars. Let's go, dude. Let's go. Nice. Very cool. Muay Thai striking. All right. I had a really good jiu-jitsu day today. Rolled with Mrs. Dr. G. She's getting very good. It's really fun. Really fun. Guys, okay. What is a scientific consensus? Chat is going nuts on this, okay? All right. A scientific consensus isn't a single study. It's not even a single idea within one field, right? So climate change is a really good example. So climate change isn't just climatology or the weather, right? Or we're talking about biology, physics, chemistry. All these fields all have subfields that are all coming together to understand that, oh, there's something going on and humans are negatively impacting the environment. Yeah, that's what a scientific consensus is. When you don't have just like, there's more evidence than just one line of questioning. That is what really happens in a scientific consensus. And you're never going to be an expert on every single issue, guys. The idea that you're going to have an expert level of knowledge on all these different fields is wrong. Like you can understand, and I read a lot more than normal people about like vaccine safety or something, but I'm not going to sit there and say that I know as much as a physician that does an immunologist, right? I know nothing compared to an immunologist, right? Or someone that studies vaccinology, right? Like having an expert level knowledge about something, you get to a point where you realize that you know nothing about that field. If you think that you are 100% confident about anything, it means that you probably don't know much about it. That's just the truth. I that's just the truth. I don't know that much about vaccines because I know that there's more information out there that I don't know. I know that I don't know. The more confident people are the people that don't have that knowledge. So they think that this is the infamous Dunning-Kruger effect, that the people with the least amount of knowledge are the most confident. For me, I have a PhD in microbiology. I have a hard time even telling you I am an expert on microbiology. And by definition, I have a world-class knowledge about it. You know what I mean? By definition. Share, good job. 362, you're amazing. 3, 2, 1. So the idea that RFK is just going to saunter into this idea and this debate on health with no medical degree, no medical background, just learning about it tangentially by getting kickbacks, by suing these pharmaceutical companies, and somehow he's going to know more than the entire American Medical Association. Like, that should be red flags everywhere for you. If that doesn't, that's a big sign that you don't know enough to not know that you know anything. Okay? There's a difference between being a skeptic and being a contrarian. Okay? Skepticism is okay. Scientists are skeptics. Okay? That's fine. You can be a skeptic. That's totally okay. But what isn't okay is being a contrarian. And what a lot of anti-vaxxers are is they are contrarians. They don't believe anything that the scientific the community is saying ever. And that isn't right. Yeah, exactly, Regals. I totally agree. Yeah, Clever Fox. I mean, humans are causing a negative impact on the environment. You know what I mean? It's pretty obvious. Cults operate on consensus. That doesn't make them yeah, it's not a cult. Yeah, if you think science is a cult, you're deeply misguided. Wonder if I ever feel like I'm the smartest person in the room. I feel in the wrong room. I totally agree. RFK has gathered so many experts and will save so. No, he hasn't. He hasn't gathered experts. He's gathered a bunch of yes men that aren't experts at anything and that don't know anything. That's the whole point. They don't know anything. They've never contributed to the field. They've never researched the field. They're just a bunch of people that are making money off of saying what they're saying, and they're just rolling in the dough. Like they're grifters. They are lying to you, and they know that they are lying. Like RFK vaccinated his kids. You are being lied to. RFK knows he is lying to you. RFK said that the MMR vaccine is safe and effective versus the measles outbreak, and he recommended it for people in Texas. He said specifically that his CDC is recommending the flu shot to 6 months and above right now because there's an abnormally large amount of kids that are being killed right now by the flu. So they recommended the flu vaccine for 6 months and above. Like, he knows that he's lying to you. He could ban all vaccines right now. If he knew that vaccines were poison, he could ban them right now. But he's not. He knows that he is lying to you. The only people that don't think that he is lying are the anti-vaxxers. Are there studies that prove vaccinations are dangerous? You mean that vaccines aren't dangerous? Yeah, Harris. Yeah, there's tons of vaccines. Vaccines are rigorously tested, man. all throughout the world. So outside of the FDA, outside of pharmaceutical companies, independently, countries do their own testing on our vaccines to make sure that they are safe. So Harris, like, this is the biggest one. Aluminum absorbed vaccines and chronic diseases in children. This is a 25-year study with 1.2 million kids in Denmark. And this shows that there's no adverse side effects long term that are correlated with vaccines or any type of ingredients inside of them. Yeah, that's the biggest one. Oh, thank you, Cherry Mist. Thank you for saying that. Your misunderstanding of Dunning is proof that consensus is moronic to use. Okay. All right. Okay. That's fine. You are, we, Todd did. You got it, dude. You got it, dude. That proves the correlation, not causation, of vaccine causing adverse side effects. What? I don't know what you mean, dude. They are looked. Yeah, I mean they're tested like for that thing, and they have individual parts of the different things in the vaccines that are the variable, right? They take out one thing and compare it to the other. That's how you run an experiment. Is that you take two cohorts and you just remove or change one thing about it, and then that's how you do that. So they were looking at vaccine ingredients there, and nothing was linked to autism or anything like that. Yeah, that's, again, Henry Ford laid a study that wasn't a study, Rodent. That wasn't a study. That was just some ramblings of a madman on Microsoft Word. It was never published. It was never peer reviewed. It's not a study at all. Yeah. Again, the fact that you guys are just repeating this, you've never looked into this stuff. You're just repeating what you have someone else heard, and you've never actually done any of the reading yourself. Because if you had, you would know that all this stuff. It's just you heard this from someone and they lied to you, and you're repeating misinformation. I'm thinking of the anti-vaxxers who have personal experience of correlation. Yeah, and that might happen. That might happen. The thing is there could be, I've read the original Dunning-Kruger paper. Like, what are you talking about? We, Todd did. Yeah, I mean, COVID vaccine. 1 second. No, it's not, Rodent. Again, it's you can make up and lie about statistics very easily. Okay, that's why peer review is so important. It wasn't a study. It was never published. It was just what some guy that was doing a Senate hearing, and he just submitted it to the Senate hearing. And now, because it has a .gov and it's a PDF, people think that it's a study, and it's not. It's just not. See you, Kathy. You said in previous live that children passed away at a 50% rate before mass vaccines in America. Yeah, they did. Before vaccines and before antibiotics, like 200 years ago, like 50% of kids used to die. Yeah. Yeah, no, the Amish get vaccines, guys. They do. Again, you guys, the only thing that they do. They use modern medicine. They do, guys. Again, people have been lying to you. So do the study again properly to finally swing it the other way. No, they've done all the studies that they need to do, Rodent. Everyone does the studies. Yeah, they do. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Prove it to me. Prove it to me. Vaccination rates of Amish in USA. In a 2011 survey in Holmes County, Ohio, found that 80%, 85%, 85% of Amish parents accepted some immunizations in their children, and 68% believing that saying that all children had at least one vaccine. Again, so just a second of research. 28 years of practice obviously didn't mean much, huh? Just disproved you in 10 seconds, bro. It's like just wild, man. Wild. I mean, you're a chiropractor, bro. You're not a doctor, so. Yeah, God bless you, dude. God bless you. I know. See ya. uh, it's always the chiropractors, guys. And you know what's so funny is that they used to be chiropractors, but now they're naturopaths. So now they have like the ND stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh. Oy, oy, oy. It always is, bro. Chiropractors was the original pseudoscience before they did. It is an alternative medicine. I mean, it's insane. Yeah, I mean, they don't even go to medical school. They're sitting there calling themselves a doctor. Like that is so insane, dude. Like wild, dude. A DC degree, like it's just insane, dude. I don't call myself a physician, okay? I say what I am, right? Right? I am a PhD. I am like I don't claim to be anything that I'm not. If you're a chiropractor and you are saying that you are that you in your chiropractic school is as good as a physician and you're masquerading around as a physician, that is lying. That is absolutely lying. I mean, what should chiropractors call themselves instead? They should call themselves what they are. I mean, they're chiropractic. Um, BS artists, back manipulators. All right. All right, guys. We're getting off of chat. We are reading talk to chat for an hour and a half. Oh man, I'd much rather any of you guys request up. But it's been fun talking to chat for an hour and a half, but we're going to try to do something more constructive. I know it's crazy. I know, Sandra, exactly. All I get now are nurse practitioners. I haven't seen a doctor in 3 years. Yeah, I mean, and some of them are, yeah. So we are going through the welcome report, guys, which is a, how they came back to be. Yeah, weren't they? It's like an alternative. It was literally an alternative medicine. They were trying to like, become an alternative way of doing it. I've read, yeah, the dude, you realize that Dunning-Kruger, you don't realize that the Dunning-Kruger, the term comes from the paper that was made by Dunning and Kruger. That was their last names. Do you realize that? Oh my gosh. No, it shows exactly what I was talking about, bro. Like, get in the box. Like, this is so boring. It's yeah, Dunning-Kruger, that shows that the least informed people are the most confident about their knowledge. That's literally what it is. I wrote a whole paper on Dunning-Kruger last semester. I pick up what you put down. Yeah, Declan. It's really the people. It's like it's a normal distribution. Yes, it does. It says that the more, yes, there's a confidence on the y-axis and the knowledge on the x-axis, and as you increase in your knowledge, you have the least knowledgeable people have the most amount of confidence, and then as you go down, you actually have less. You have less confidence about your knowledge. So as you have more knowledge, you have a lesser amount of confidence about your knowledge. That is what the Dunning-Kruger effect is. Okay, bud. Okay. Sure, bud. Sure. No, I think physical therapy is good. No, there can definitely be like some benefits of it. I think it's just like the aligning your or cracking your back and stuff could like lead to problems. But no, I'm really, I mean, for my jujitsu and stuff, I'm really into stretching and yeah, all that, yeah, stretching and weightlifting and doing all that kind of stuff. But acupuncture, I don't think we checked into acupuncture, and there is some correlation with like people that have had nerve damage. It's for some reason like the actual pricking of the nerve with the needle, it like somehow like stimulates growth or something in it. It was actually really interesting. Yeah. Huh. Chiropractic is ridiculously violent. It's a good way to put it. Okay, you are we Todd did. I think it's like the how people can like be completely unaligned and stuff, like get hurt from it. People do get their necks messed up from chiropractic. Hi, Call Me Ness. How's it going?
Good morning from London.
Hello.
Can you hear me all right? I've got these earbuds in.
Yes, I can hear you.
I just thought I'd come on so that you'd have an actual human to speak to.
Thank you.
But it did make me laugh when you said that chiropractors are the new naturopaths.
Well, the
'Cause I-
chiropractors are the old naturopaths. Now they go to ND school, so that they have the D after their name. And I guess they do. The chiropractors go to DC school, Doctor of Chiropractic. So
I go to Doctor of Asshole school sometimes when I come across people like that.
Yeah.
I own I run a little women's health business, and it's fitness and nutrition and things like that. But
nice.
the number of times I have naturopaths contact me and say, "Oh, would you like to have naturopathic services in your business or Reiki healing?" And I have to very politely go back and say, I'm kind of more into science and facts, but thanks. And I've had to come up with so many creative ways to tell them I think they're a dipshit without really offending them.
Yeah.
Anyway, it would just made me laugh that now that might have been a chiropractor approaching me all this time.
Yeah, it's wild. I don't know.
Anyway,
It's
I
very
was thinking,
frustrating.
Dr. G,
What's up?
you should do a session on how to actually read a scientific paper. I had to take a whole fucking course on it.
Okay.
I'm not sure still that I'm very good at it, but I just wonder if it might be useful for people who claim to have read the evidence and then clearly don't understand it. It is interesting. It is easy to misinterpret these things if you don't know what
Okay.
you're looking at.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
just feel like someone that we know and trust, it would be nice to, I don't know, maybe help people be able to do their own research if they insist on doing it instead of trusting people who've spent decades doing it.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say do your own research, but if you don't know how to do it,
yeah, that's a good idea.
time, you know?
I have a video on it. It's kind of old, but yeah, that's a good idea. How to, yeah, I love this idea of like infographics. I guess I don't know. Infographics are such an interesting way. Like I found going through all the Maha people, like their organizations, they had they had all these infographics that they could repost and they could easily share. It's a lot easier to share an image than it is a video, you know?
Oh God, it's so tragic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want you to read anything, so here's a pretty picture.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a pretty picture on how to read. You know, it's like, oh man.
No, but just kind of like, these are the things that define a well-structured, a well-designed study, right?
Yeah,
so the double blinding, and how do they eliminate bias, and what are the risks of biases and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just thought it might be interesting, and someone like you could probably explain it in a way that people can understand.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's noisy. I'm walking into the studio.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Anyway, I won't stay up here long. I just felt so bad for you. You're like, will someone please request that? It's amazing how terrified of you they are.
I know. It is wild.
Take it as a compliment.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ness. Thank you for coming in. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
All right. Have a lovely evening.
All right. Have a good day.
It's gray and disgusting here.
Per usual.
Per usual, yeah. All right. Take care, Dr. G. Bye-bye.
Bye. Guys, Ness, awesome. Friend of the show. Very, very awesome person. Thank you, Ness. Dunning-Kruger paper. Yeah. Yeah. This is what it is, 1999 paper, unskilled and unaware of it, how difficulties in recognizing one's own incompetence lead to inflated self-assessments. You don't know what you don't know. That's insane. People tend to hold overly favorable views of their abilities in many social and intellectual domains. The authors suggest that this overestimation occurs in part because people who are unskilled in their domains suffer a dual burden. Not only do these people reach erroneous conclusions and make unfortunate choices, but their incompetence robs them of the metacognitive ability to realize it. That's literally what I just said. That's what I just said. Across 4 studies, the authors found that participants scoring in the bottom quartile on tests of humor, grammar, and logic grossly overestimated their test performance and ability. Although their test score put them in the 12th percentile, they estimated themselves to be in the 62nd. Several analyses linked this miscalibration to deficits in metacognitive skill or the capability to distinguish accuracy from error. Paradoxically, improving the skills of participants and thus increasing their metacognitive competence helped them recognize the limitations of their abilities. That's what I literally said, dude. It's like, oh, that's like literally what I said. It's so wild, people getting so mad in chat, and I'm like, I'm like, I really, I'm like, did I really make it that wrong? Did I? It's like, oh my god. Ooh. Oh, there's a 2002. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought, man. This is their follow-up. This is interesting. This is a comment on their 1999 paper in 2002. Kruger and Dunning, 1999, argued that the unskilled suffer a dual burden. Not only do they perform poorly, but their incompetence robs them of a metacognitive ability to realize it. Kruger and Mueller, 2002, replicated these basic findings but interpreted them differently. They concluded that a combination of the better than average effect and regression artifact better explains why the unskilled are unaware. The authors of the present article respectfully disagree with this proposal and suggest that an interpretation of Kruger and Mueller's results is hampered because those authors have unreliable tests and inappropriate measures of relevant mediating variables. Okay. Anyway. All right. Okay. I agree, Harris. It's all good. I, it happens all the time, man. People like clip me or something, and it's always funny. I mean, I'm talking like for 3 or 4 hours a night, man, every night. So I'm sure you could find some clip that makes me sound weird or dumb. I'm sure. But I'm not. Yeah, but I am as stupid as the trolls say that I am. Genuinely. I genuinely do believe that. But it's okay, guys. Okay. That's a great point, Maria. I think it's a lot of water. Okay. All right, we have to get through this. We're on page 22 of 59, guys. We're doing a chapter at a time. We are going through this. Okay? This is I know, Heather. We haven't even started yet. Exactly. I know. This one was this is the Welcome. So Welcome is a Democratic pollsters group, and they are basically doing a posthumous understanding of what happened in the future, previously and in the future for the Democrats to win again. Declan, if you want, totally okay, support people getting off the app for mental health reasons, for sure. YouTube in my profile has everything. So all my lives are streamed there, archived there. So if you ever wanted to go back, you can always go back. So all good. Okay. The electorate. So part 2, guys. We're on to part 2. We did the previous elections on the last one. The key takeaways from part 1. Hey, thanks, Harris. Have a good one, man. Key takeaways from part 1. Oh, we disagreed with a lot of this, so I don't know if I want to go over it again. Yeah, I disagree with a lot of it. Again, we went over it before, so I don't want to rehash it. But basically, I feel like the Democrats aren't actually fighting for their positions, and they're allowing the framing, the Republican framing of the issue, and that's what's causing a lot of this. Like, for example, the anti-vax talking point that science was wrong the entire time during the pandemic. Like that's not right at all. That science was never wrong. It was actually, we had information that was better and better over time, but the scientific community was never wrong. Like as a consensus, it was never wrong. Maybe the FDA or the CDC was pushed because of some nonsense that Trump pushed, but absolutely, like, the scientific community was never wrong. So now everyone just talks about, like, oh wow, the scientific community was all wrong, and that's why nobody trusts it anymore. And it's like, no, that's a bad framing. That's not right. Anyway, how you fight for issues is a big problem. Why can't people understand that science is constantly evolving? Yeah, it's a good thing that that science can change its ideas. I think it's a good thing. I think it looks weak and timid now in an age that you have to, like, stick by your gumption and sit. And I think that's why people. Yeah, that's why people do that. Okay. The electorate. In order to win elections, we need an accurate understanding of the American electorate. That's a very good point, Nest. I love that. Science tries to prove itself wrong. Yes, exactly. That's what the studies are for. Exactly. I totally agree. That's a really good way to put it. Okay, so as always with these things, guys, it's going to be a lot better to view it on YouTube. I will try to put something here so that you can, like, see what I'm talking about. But in general, it's going to be better to view things on YouTube. But I'll be reading it. Okay. We're on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Okay. Oh, thank you, Alex. The demographics of the electorate. Most voters are white. Most voters are non-college educated, and most voters are over the age of 50. The ideological makeup of the electorate. A supermajority of Americans identify as moderate or conservative. Wow, that's crazy. Including majorities of swing voters, non-voters, working class voters, and minority voters. Are these voters or are these people? How would you describe your political views? Very conservative, moderate, or very liberal? Dark green, the top one here, is very conservative or conservative. Moderate is dashed. And then liberal or very liberal is only 25. Wow. That is crazy. And these are... So this is... including majorities of swing voters, non-voters, and working. So this is what I was talking about, non-voters. So that was my question. Like, are we doing all adults, or are we doing just voters? And looks like they're doing everyone over 18. The electorate's view on abstract questions. On a number of philosophical questions, including taxation, regulation, rule of government, and immigration, the majorities of voters hold moderate or conservative views. The electorate's views on institutions and ideals. Most voters have favorable views of institutions, such as the police. Capitalism, small business, America, and unfavorable views of socialism. Working class voters versus college educated voters. Working class voters are more conservative than college educated voters on both social issues and economic issues. Key takeaways from part 2. Well, that was fast. That was just one graph and a couple paragraphs. The moderate and or conservative inclinations of the electorate on a number of important questions underscore the difficulties the Democrats' shift to the left have created for our party. So they were making the argument in part 1 that Democrats have shifted dramatically to the left over the last since 2012. I wouldn't argue that. I don't think that that's correct, but that is what they are saying in their thing. Political polling is notoriously awful. True, Maria. Yeah, I think it's still good to like look at it and see kind of like what people are finding. Moderate in what capacity would be interesting to see how they define it. Yeah, like moderate or independent. You know what I mean? Okay, cool. Okay, the forces within the Democratic Party. Okay. In part 1, we saw how the Democratic Party has changed in recent years. Part 3 helps us understand which groups within our party drove these shifts. We examine how the views of the different groups within the Democratic Party differ from each other and from the electorate overall. So this is interesting, like the idea that there are, we gave up on universal health care, that's a right shift. I agree, Uncle Hippie. I think, like, universal healthcare is a centrist position, and everywhere else, every other industrialized country in the world, the idea that we don't have that is a point of shame. Highly educated Democrats in comparison to less well-educated Democrats. Highly educated Democrats are more likely than non-college educated Democrats to identify as liberal. Young Democrats are more liberal than older Democrats, and white Democrats are more liberal than non-white Democrats. Hey, Chronically Juliana on Twitch. How's it going? I love the way it looks over here on Twitch. I'm so happy I found your content. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's a little easier. I put Twitch chat on, and it's actually a combined chat, so you can see all the chats, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok, all in the same chat on YouTube and TikTok. Just letting you know. I agree, Metro Man. We do not have a national health care because of the insurance companies and the profits that they get. Yeah, they're middlemen. It's crazy. I agree, Ness. Exactly. Yeah, nobody in any of the conservative parties in anywhere else in the world is like, yeah, you know what we should do, guys? We should replicate the American style of healthcare. Like, nobody is doing that. So, yeah, I mean, health insurance companies are just middlemen, guys. They're just middlemen that are just raking in 30% of profit, 20 to 30% of profit. It's awful. Yeah, thank you, Ness. Thank you. I get you. Finally, rub it in. Our favorite expat. I'm sorry, you and Callie, both of you guys. It is so bad. Similar differences in let's see. Highly educated Democrats also hold more liberal views than working class Democrats on both economic and social issues, and see economic issues as relatively lower priorities. Really? That's weird. Similar differences in issue prioritization exist between affluent Democrats and lower income Democrats, with the former seeing issues like political division and climate change as relatively more important, and the latter placing a higher priority on issues like poverty, unemployment, Social Security, and gas prices. Democratic staffers, in comparison to Democratic voters and the electorate overall. Academic research shows that Democratic campaign staffers are to the left of Democratic voters, making them even further to the left of the electorate overall. Democratic campaign staffers are also, on average, younger, more highly educated, more likely to be white, more likely to be female, and less likely to attend church than both Democratic voters and overall electorate. Democratic Party donors and the elites in comparison to the Democratic voters. Some argue that Democrats are pulled to the center by our donor class, but academic research shows that both large and small Democratic donors are more left-wing than the Democratic voters overall. What? In addition, research from Data for Progress shows that Democratic elites are significantly to the left of the general public. What? And the gap between Democratic elites and the public is larger than the gap between the Republican elites and the public. Ultimately, large Democratic donors, like small Democratic donors, Democratic campaign staffers, and Democratic elites all likely act to pull our party to the left, not to the center. Highly educated Democrats and affluent Democrats in comparison to working class voters, swing voters, and the general electorate. I think we get it. Here we go. I know, that is very weird. Here we go. Highly educated Democrats have a different priorities from non-college educated voters, swing voters, and general electorate. So the left column is issue, right? And then the next column is difference in prioritization, college plus Dems versus all non-college voters. So it's showing that this isn't an article. This is Welcome. It's called the polling group for it's for Democrats. It's called Welcome, and the Welcome report is. I don't want to lose my spot. It is called Deciding to Win. Okay, so again, so difference in prioritization, college plus Dems versus all. So yeah, so the green on the middle column, the first middle column, climate change, voting rights, civil liberties, guns, and then the bottom is border security, immigration, terrorism, gas crime, and then the middle column here is difference in prioritization, college plus Dems versus swing voters. So the one on the left is all non-college age voters. Okay, so that would be Republicans, Dems, everyone. And all non-college voters are going to be more right-leaning in general. So they would do worse there on our issues, right? Okay, so that's why border security is so red at the bottom here. Border security at the bottom is showing the worst, and then immigration, but those are issues that they care about. So that's why it's so different. Huh. Interesting. And then difference in prioritization, college plus Dems versus swing voters. So swing voters care more about civil liberties and privacy then, and political division than the Republican-leaning all non-college voters. That's interesting. So civil liberties, freedom, liberty, political division. Huh. And then difference in prioritization, college plus Dems versus all voters. So that's going to be Republicans too. So it's showing that climate change is specifically only a highly educated Democrats thing. That's what they're trying to say, basically. They're saying that, CNS, how's it going? Have a good one. So they're just saying that they're basically saying climate change is really out of touch with everyone else and voting rights. How can voting rights not be something that people care about? I don't care. I don't understand. No, Heather Hamilton, this is what it is. These are polls that are. These are all voters. That's the whole point. It's swing voters and all voters in here. So yeah, it's just showing that border security was like a major miss. Immigration, crime should be an easy one, man. But dude, it's crazy. I was looking at the San Diego budget. It is ungodly the amount that we spend on police It's like 30% of our budget. It is by far the number one thing that people pay for. And you're just like, is that really like 30% of the budget? And it's all like overtime? Like the amount of money that they make is just ungodly. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think that you gotta cut that back somehow. It is ridiculous. Progressive advocacy groups in comparison to working class minorities. Highly educated white voters tend to be more liberal than working class white voters. Highly educated minority voters tend to be more liberal than the working class minority voters. This introduces the potential for disconnects between progressive advocacy organizations, which are generally run by highly educated staff, and groups whose interests they aim to advance, who are predominantly working class. Democratic elected officials would do well to keep in mind that policy preferences of progressive advocacy groups may not represent the differences in the communities that these groups advocate for. I mean, but like the people that don't know a lot of politics, why would we, like, how would they know what the best policy is? You know what I mean? Like, the idea is to have and advocate for things that are going to make the most change in people's lives. I think that's the real goal. You know, you go for that. Democratic voters care deeply about winning elections. In 2020 Democratic primary, polls consistently found that the Democratic primary voters prioritize electability over ideology, a lesson for 2028 Democratic hopefuls. I agree there. How do non-voters have any input? By not voting, you know, they do. Large, but more voting. They have more people have more impact by voting than non-voting, for sure. Large Democratic donors, small Democratic donors, Democratic campaign staffers, Democratic elites, all of them are to the left of these people that we need to swing voters. Meanwhile, Democratic voters deeply want the party to win. Hey, call me Bob. Hey, Evelyn. Okay, the myth of mobilization. Interesting. Some Democrats argue that to win, our party should move left to mobilize our base. This section examines mobilization theory in detail and finds that it gets things backwards. In fact, more progressive Democrats tend to do worse electorally, while more moderate Democrats tend to do better. The same is true for more moderate Republicans, who tend to outperform more conservative conservative Republicans. 4.1. Differences in electoral performance between different kinds of Democratic candidates. In House and Senate races, moderate Democrats tend to outperform electoral expectations, while progressive Democrats tend to underperform. This is in 2024. Democratic candidate performance by attribute. Endorsed by the Justice Democrats or Our Revolution, -5. Oh, man. No, I think that, no, voting is like I don't think it's religious. I think it's a civic duty. Endorsed by Justice Democrats or Our Revolution. The squad average performance relative to the expectations among 2024 Democrat House. So it's like compared to a generic Democrat on the ballot, how are they doing? And they're doing -5%, -4%, even on the Progressive Caucus. All Democrats in the contested areas. Members of the New Democrats, 0.5 plus. Problem Solvers, +2. Blue Dog Caucus, 3. Blue Dog Pack, Welcome Pack, +5. Oh my gosh. What do we mean when we use the term moderate? We do mean taking popular positions on the issues voters care about, breaking with Democrat orthodoxies on issues like immigration and public safety, where the mainstream Democratic position is unpopular. What we do not mean, reflexively defending the status quo, the establishment, or corporate interests, or taking the centrist position even when that position is unpopular. Moderation means taking popular, often heterodox positions. Okay, that's going to be an interesting section when we get there. Differences in electoral performance between different types of Republicans. The MAGA squad. Yeah, dude, this is what we saw on Tuesday, guys. And the MAGA squad, anything related to Trump just got absolutely crushed. You know, it's just without Trump on the ballot, it really did hurt them. I agree, Rigels. I think that voting should be mandatory. Yeah, for sure. This poll, Kung Fu Tray, is by Welcome. Welcome's like a Democratic pollster polling group, and it just got released October 27th. Yeah. No, you should definitely vote, dude. Yeah, you don't need to read anything. Voting's very fundamental and should be, yeah, it's huge. I believe in democracy is like my fundamental ideal, dude, so I definitely think that everyone should vote. Why do they make the claim that our own PAC endorsements wins votes? I don't know what you mean by that. It's easier to vote now than if they take their vote away. You know, I think that's like... I don't know who that is. Call me Bob. How ideology, moderates do work better. Interesting. A review of the academic literature on the electoral impact of being more moderate. Recent academic literature on the effects of ideological moderation on electoral outcomes largely corroborates our findings. More extreme candidates pay an electoral penalty, while more moderate candidates perform better, particularly in races for executive offices and higher salience elections. The relative impact of turnout and persuasion in recent national elections, the effects of changes in how people vote, persuasion, and the effects of changes in which people vote, turnout, tends to point in the same direction, but the effects of persuasion are usually larger. Interesting. Swing voters are real. They exist, and in close elections, they offer between winning and losing. Vote switching from election to election is often associated with issues. Evidence suggests that changes in voter preferences from election to election are often correlated with voters' views on issues, as well as which issues are salient in a given election. Turnout rates moves in unison. How moderate views differ. How Democrats who vote sporadically differ from Democrats who vote consistently. Oh, this is interesting. In policy polling we conducted, we found that the voters Democrats lost to the couch in 2024, those who backed Biden in 2020 who did not vote in 2024 had more moderate policy preferences than those who voted for Biden in 2020 and Harris in 2024. In other words, Democratic-leaning voters who vote sporadically tend to be more moderate. That's wild. I mean, I don't think that Kamala Harris ran like an extremist thing. It was a very moderate campaign. It's so wild to me. Like it's just the framing by Republicans that have made these people think this. Like it's just wrong though. Like sorry, Kamala Harris was not a radical candidate. She just wasn't. Yeah, again, divine sex is a binary. Like, she never talked about trans issues. She never did. Like, to the actual bewilderment of the queer community, by the way. She never did. So, like, require IDs and proof of citizenship to vote. I mean, this one's so weird. It's like, we already do. Like, we already do in order to register. Like, it's so weird to me that people think like these issues are fake. These are fake issues that are perpetrated and pushed by the Republican Party in misinformation, and people are falling for it. And it's like, why would a Democrat have hold these views? Deploy the military to help the border security. Like, why would you do that? Why would you deploy the military in your own country? That doesn't make any sense. and all government benefits for undocumented immigrants. They already don't get a lot of the federal benefits. This is the whole point. Designated cartels. Again, we aren't having these caravans of people coming over. Like, it just doesn't exist. Oh. The false trade-off between persuasion and mobilization. Support for current and past Democratic policies among swing voters is highly correlated with support among infrequent voters. As the chart below shows, far more than 100 Democrat policies we polled, there's a strong positive relationship between policy support among 2024 swing voters, horizontal axis, and swing support in non-voters. Popular policies are popular with swing voters and non-voters. That makes sense. Like, swing voters aren't gonna be well educated enough to, like, they're just gonna take a policy. Exactly, Colleen Bob. Like, what are they talking about? Like, deny immigrants what? All benefits, all governmental benefits. Like, what? They don't have like what? Like an unpopular position isn't going to permeate into non-voters and people that don't vote often, right? Because a lot of people aren't going to be talking about it, so that's not going to be normalized in their brains, so they're not going to hold those views. It's really not hard. So that's why support for democratic policies among swing voters and non-voters is highly correlated. That's why. Exactly, Call Me Bob. Exactly. What are you talking about, Woo? What are you talking about? I debate all the time with Trump supporters. Is this your first time here? Guys, do you think I don't speak to Trump supporters enough? You know, we don't speak to anti-vaxxers enough in here? Is that what happens here? Is that, what do you guys think? Yeah, dude. For example, expanding prescription drug negotiation, a longtime priority of Bernie Sanders, has more support among the general election than 98% of Democratic policies we polled, and is above the 95th percentile of support among swing voters and non. By contrast, increasing the number of refugees allowed to come to the United States each year is in the 8th percentile. I hate stuff like this. Expanding prescription drug negotiation has, like, this is the stuff, the patchwork nonsense that we have. Like, it's so frustrating to me. It blows my mind. I think that they are really big wussies. I think that you're right. Swing voters and non-voters prioritize the same issue. That is really interesting. Cost of living high on both of them. Wow, that's a really interesting graph. Right here. Swing voters and non. So the top right is swing voter and non-voter prioritization. So, and God, again, inflation. Like, guys, inflation. Do you think that the pandemic and Biden administration would have done better if we had 10%, 15% unemployment, or would you have rather had 10% inflation? I would rather be employed and have 5% more inflation than be unemployed with 5% inflation. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is what the Fed balances. You know, that is how it works. So the idea that, like, people hate inflation, it's like, okay, but we had a functioning economy where people had high employment. So, like, that is the thing. Taxes and governmental spending, man, that's crazy. Okay, Woo. All right. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, I'm gonna do my own thing. You know what I mean? Thank you for, you're not my manager and you're not my producer, so I don't know. You know what I mean? Guys, I I do the show that I want to do, that I think I would want to watch. You know what I mean? That is what I'm doing. So, thanks for, you can watch or not. It's okay. Correlation in public policy, after mobilization theory. Here we go. Key takeaways. Progressive Democrats often argue that to win, Democrats should move left in an attempt to mobilize our base. However, the data shows that progressive Democrats underperform the moderate Democrats electorally. Swing voters exist and are more decisive sporadically. Ultimately, persuasion and turnout go together. Voters across the political spectrum and across demographic lines want Democrats to focus on the cost of living, and the best messaging and most popular policies, which tend to focus on the kitchen table economic issues, appeal to voters of all kinds, including both swing voters and sporadic voters. Cost of living, it's that the problem is, like, how do you impact that? You know, it's like the cost of living is so broad. Like, that is so broad, man. Like, you either increase wages, you decreased costs, but like, how are you going to do that in a market? How are you going, like, you can increase minimum wage, but that's not going to broadly increase wages. You know, like, you, and in driving down the cost of goods, like, that requires like less money in the system. You know, inflation is always a positive thing. You always want 2 or 3% inflation. That is in capitalist market economics. You always want that because your growing economy has the lubrication that it needs. You know, a growing economy needs more money chasing after it, kind of thing. So that's why inflation kind of always happens. It's always a good thing. If voting made a difference, they wouldn't let us do it. No, that's not true. Voting makes a huge difference. Anyone that's like lived under like Trump knows that voting makes a huge difference. I think that voting should be mandatory. We should pay people to vote. I'd pay people $1,000 to vote. You don't think that Trump has made a difference? Like, what? Yeah, exactly. Call me Bob. Exactly. So like, inflation, exactly. Wages need to go up, but that's the thing. Call me Bob. Like, literally, real wages did go up during the Biden administration for the first time in a really long time, and nobody gives Biden any credit for that. You know, so that's the hard part. If I didn't vote, if yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, Kate. If voting didn't matter, Republicans wouldn't try so hard to suppress the vote. Yeah, Clever Fox, you never want like 0% inflation. You know, like, it's not a good thing. You want money to be cheap enough that you can have some more money chasing goods, so that you have people willing to take risks. If you have your money being worth less, right? If you have $1,000 and it's just able to buy less things, then your investments are going to have to be very sporadic, right? You're not going to be able to invest into things that have risk, because that's even more risky. So, yeah. I know the debt is gnarly. It is so crazy. It's crazy. Then like half of that is Trump. It's like, it's insane. Like half of that is like literally just Trump. It's wild. Okay. All right. We are halfway through, guys. Amazing. Part 5. We're on to part 5. We did it good. We did it. We have made I do have a podcast. This thing is a podcast. What you're listening to right now is the Dr. Greg show. Then I do put it out on YouTube podcasts so that you can listen to it if you want. Okay, Kung Fu, yeah. Yeah, Clever Fox. Look into the Fed. It's interesting. Like, what are the metrics that the Fed uses in order to tune the economy? It's interesting. If they look at the inflation rate and unemployment, those are the two things. Yeah. Okay, Tyler, that's fine. I mean, I've argued with leftists about constantly about whether or not like the anti-electoralism stuff is so boring to me that I mean I've talked. It's so boring, but I understand. I get it. But at the end of the day, like there's a reason why Hassan was like in Zoran's like party, right? Because he knew that election made a difference. So he went from, oh, Trump and Harris are exactly the same. Elections don't matter. None of it matters, to bootlicking Zoran and trying to, suckle at his electoral teat, as soon as he won. So the reality is that elections do matter, and people that don't think that elections matter are out of touch. That's just the reality. Oh, yeah, Kung Fu. Those don't exist anymore, dude. Like traditional compassionate conservatives from like George W. Bush, like that's like wild, man. Or are you talking about Reagan Republicans? Those are like even rare. I mean, democracy is dangerous. Democracy is a radical idea. That's why I think it's interesting, and it's the best way in order for a populace to have its ideas go to the top. Otherwise, you have what, an authoritarian government? I mean, what are you proposing? Like, what are you proposing? If the left had answers and everything, because of disinformation and AI, man, it was crazy. I mean, the problem with Democrats is that Democrats have to deal with reality and then the fake reality that Republicans manufacture and fake, and that they push through disinformation and AI. That is the big problem. They have to contend with both things. A lot of the most unfavorable positions that Democrats hold in the 2024 elections aren't positions that they held at all. So they spend half of the time saying that we don't actually believe in that, and then the other half fighting against Trump, and then they were never able to like actually make an argument for themselves. So I think it's a huge problem for them. It's a huge messaging problem. They're never able to make their case, and they're never able to go on the offensive. So, I mean, you should look up the Popular Front. That is the best anti-authoritarian, anti-fascist organizing techniques that worked in Europe, and it'll work again. I think it'll work again. Yeah, clever. Democrats can't get beyond. Democrats have no vision. That's the problem. They have no like vision of like what would go, what would happen if they got elected versus Trump, like MAGA, which MAGA gets you into this kind of Norman Rockwell idea of Americana, and that's easy to understand and easy to conceptualize. So it's hard. It's hard. There is no like utopian vision of like what can actually happen. Can't we have a democracy and socialism, or maybe socialism isn't an economy? I mean, you can have, so basically like socialism is the democratic ownership of the means of production. So what that means is that the places that are the workplaces are democratically owned. So the businesses are owned by the workers, and there's a lot of different ways that can happen. But basically, democratic ownership means that a pyramid of power, there just isn't one. It's just flat. It's just the bottom thing, right? And workers own that. But you can have other structures within that business model, right? So you could have like democratic ownership through like stocks or something like that. There's, Germany does it, how they have, if you have a company after a certain size, then you have to have people from the organization be on like the board of directors, that kind of thing. And there's also like market socialism too. So like the idea that you have to have like a command economy, or that you have to have like full control over the economy, like China does. That's like a falsity. You don't have to do that at all. So you can have democratic socialism, which is like the idea that you have these ideals brought through democratic means. But most leftists are like revolutionary socialists. So they think that you would have to, in order to break the chains of capital, you would have to have a revolution, through, some types of political action. So I think that you could still get it done through democratic means. I think that you would want to do it through democratic means, because anything through force and power, you're going to get people that are just contrarian and don't want that anyway. And at the end of the day, you want the population to vote and be on board with any type of revolutionary moment. So that's my opinion. Like you would actually want the next government to be democratically supported. You wouldn't want to win it by force, even if you did win it by force. I haven't read that, Tyler. How can Democrats start to appeal to the uneducated? Willie, I think that's a good question, man. I think that like just being open and honest and having these conversations and just like, I mean, in my opinion, man, I think the best thing that Democrats can do is like join a sports team. Join like a MMA gym. I do jujitsu, like do things that are just with other people that aren't with people like you, and that forces you guys all to come together. And it's an amazing feeling that you get, when you all come together and work together on something. Yeah, Kung Fu. I think that the old guard of like the old Democrats are definitely hurting. I think it's hurting more than people realize. Democrats just being young and personable and relatable is like the number one thing. Because like MAGA is weird. MAGA is just, they have like that trad wife, the traditional wife, like stay at home mom, like just like a weird feeling sometimes, versus like a young, personable person that's just chill. It's like most likely to be a Democrat. So I think it's like better to have that vision versus the forcing you to be in a traditional stay-at-home mom kind of thing. Like not it's not going to work for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't want to do that. Remember, there's a huge difference between socialism in Korea and democratic socialism in Denmark. Yeah, I mean, Kelsey, I don't think that Denmark is socialist or democratic socialist. I think that they're a constitutional monarch. So I think it's a false idea that they're ever socialist. You can't. A monarch is a right wing style of government because you are deciding who gets the food or the resources, and so yeah, I don't think any type of constitutional monarch could ever be socialist or democratic. It's an oxymoron. I think the system is broken, but we have a democratic. I think we have to have a democratic political revolution. That's the idea. I don't think that we'll have the midterms in 2026. Honestly, Matt, I was thinking that it would be fine, but we got such a shellacking on Tuesday. I think that he might do a lot more to stop it than previous. So I think that, yeah, I think that's unfair to say us about. Okay, I mean, like, I'm not saying that it's like I would love to be a stay-at-home dad, to my kids. I would love it. But I'm saying is that it's unfair to force that on people. Like everyone should have the option to work. Yeah, I think that Matt, I think that's right. He just declares martial law. Yeah. Okay, so Tyler, okay, bro, like what kind of government are you advocating for? Like what, are you an anarchist? You have to be. Like, is that what are you an ANCOM? If you're anything but an ANCOM, you're a hypocrite. Martial law can't stop elections. Do you believe in communism? I mean, communism is like community-based government structures. That's all it is. Like, I mean, it isn't like this like boogie thing. That uh, I reading about it and stuff and analyzing it in my like political science classes and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of different ways of running a government. And political science teaches that there's benefits and pros and cons to all different types of governments. So it's the idea that there is a best style of government, I think that's fake. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's what I figured. That's fine. I think it's boring. I think, and I mean, I like the problem with anarchism is like we have to come together to fix problems that are bigger than ourselves. And that's why like states are good because you create a vessel that has people invested into a multi-generational project. The idea that, I mean, are you a syndicalist? I mean, like, how no, I mean, so you can be an anarcho-communist or an anarchist or an anarcho-capitalist. It's kind of like, what is the reason and how are you organizing that? Syndicalism is the idea that there is basically kind of like not states, but like little sects of groups of people coming together in order to do things, but not like a nation state. So as soon as you have a nation, then now you have nationalism, which is now a perverse reason to organize and to do things. Isn't anarchism like destruction? No, that's like a sophomoric way of understanding how anarchism is. Anarchism is basically like, again, think of the structure of a pyramid of power, right? You have like the workers, your middle management, and then you have like the CEO at the top. So anarchism is just the bottom rung of the pyramid of power, right? It's just that there is no one above you, and it's a stateless society. So there's no nations, that kind of thing. It's never, yeah. So. Oh, cool, Kung Fu. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, dude. So you think that democracy is a tyranny then? Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. And people that are no. So anarchists believe that like democracy, because you have in a democratic government, you have the tyranny of the majority, it's called. So tyranny of the majority means that 50% plus one is going to have tyranny over that, 1% of the population. So the idea is that those people aren't consenting to have those changes brought upon them. They voted no, and they don't agree to those changes. But now, because they voted, now they have that tyranny against that minority group. So therefore, democratic policies are tyrannical. Oh, Chronically Juliana. Oh, thank you. I just want to say thank you for coming live every night. I know it's probably so draining, and I'm grateful for your content. I'm sitting here doing my IV fluids and tube feedings, and it makes me time pass faster listening to you. Thank you, Juliana. Thank you for saying that. Leaders of government is what's bad, not communism, socialism, or democracy. Democracy got you mango mousse lazy as a child, but somehow democracy isn't tyrannical. Well, I mean, to an anarchist, democracy will always be tyrannical, whether or not it's Mango Mussolini or anyone. If it's just, water table usage or, fences, it's always going to be tyrannical because the tyranny of the majority. Anarcho-capitalism sounds bad, but I don't see it plausible. Are there examples? So anarcho-capitalism is basically the idea that the economy is going to run through capitalism, but there isn't going to be a government that can withstrain the capital owning class. So businesses would rule without regulation. And the idea being that without a government, but with capital, you would have kind of like a self-regulating, the capital, the corporations would want to have the best scenario for them in order to operate, so they wouldn't necessarily make it too bad. But I feel like because of capitalism and how more and more people congregate wealth, you inherently need a government in order to regulate that. So it's anarcho-capitalism is very scary in my mind. Anarcho-communism is the idea that you have. It's kind of like anarcho-communism is kind of like the end goal of Marxism, the stateless, classless society, after the vanguard party takes over and kind of puts all the resources everywhere and gets everything all set up, and then the Vanguard Party kind of dissolves the state. You have kind of like this stateless, classless society that doesn't have a nation, doesn't have a state, and then people are kind of like working out for one another, and not necessarily for like capital purposes, but for looking out for one another, for the community. So instead of like anarcho-capitalism being there and having the corporations rule, you kind of have the community rules, which is what communism, community, like it's a community-based government. Got another grand tot vaccinated, and my daughter got her flu shot. Nice, Night Flyer. That's 2. That's amazing. 10:33, guys. All right. So in 3, 2, 1. You're awesome, Night Flyer. Good job getting those kids. That's a good grandparent right there. Yeah. No, I think I am I'm like anti-authoritarian in my politics normally. So like I'm very, like, anarchism is very interesting to me. Um, I think it is very interesting. Um, When someone looks at the world and sees all the manner of suffering and injustice stretching back to thousands of years and continuing today, he invariably blames such problems on someone else's hatred, greed, or stupidity. Rarely will someone else consider the possibility of his own belief system in the cause of all the pain and suffering he sees around him. In most cases, the root cause of most of society's ills, the main source of man's inhumanity to man, is either malice nor negligence, but a mere superstition on unquestioned assumption, which has been accepted or on faith by nearly everyone of all ages, races, religions, education, and income levels. If people were to recognize that one belief for what it is, an utterly irrational, self-contradictory, and horribly deconstructed myth, most of the violence, oppression, and injustice of the world would cease. But that will happen only when people dare to honestly re-examine their own belief system. The most dangerous superstition exposes the myth for what it is, showing how nearly everyone, as a result of one particular unquestioned assumption, is directly contributing to violence and oppression without even realizing. If you manage yourself to be a compassionate, peace-loving, civilized human being, you must read this book. Okay, so then what is it? What is the myth? What are they talking about? What's the most dangerous superstition? Voting? Yeah, I mean, exactly, Jet City. I mean, so as an anti-authoritarian, okay, I totally am sympathetic to anarchists, like genuinely. I do think that a lot of people are good-hearted. I don't think that we need necessarily to, and I think that most people want the same things, and that we're being forced in order to do a lot of the things that we do, right? From the state pushes us in order to do these jobs that people don't want to do. Beach pushes us to have to, the cost of living just to live. Dude, well, what is it? What is the dangerous superstition? It says the myth of for what it is. What is the myth that they're talking about? but I do, there is a cost of capitalism. That is what I'm trying to say. Like, our economy and our rat race does exist, and I think that people feel that, you know. So the idea of like a society where people can look out for one another and have a life that is self-guided. I'm not going to read it. Just tell me what it is. You obviously haven't read it, or you didn't read it well enough in order to tell me what the superstition is, and tell me what they're exposing as the myth. So if you haven't read it and well understood it enough, then why would I read it? Like, you're obviously not making the point for the book well enough for me to read it. So tell me what it is, then we can talk about it. And then if it's a good enough point, then I'll read it. But if it's some like sophomoric thing of like, oh, the superstition is actually just voting, man. If everyone didn't vote, then like the whole world would be better, dude. Then that's some stupid stuff. But the problem with anarchism in general is like I'm a scientist. Like, I am a scientist. The infrastructure and the ways that we build up knowledge in generational knowledge is through institutions and a constitution. That is what we do. So the idea that you're just going to deconstruct science as an institution, you're going to deconstruct government as an institution. So then every generation, you're just going to have to what? You're going to have to de novo for the first time, figure out like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be, castigating people based off of immutable characteristics. Like, oh, that's a good one. Like you want these battles to be won, and then you want to can go through and like and make a chapter and go, okay, next thing. That is the idea. So in science has to be done with a lot more than just yourself, right? A lot more. It has to, and it's not just more than a state. It's an international coalition. Science is a multi-generational project that is being pushed forward by people that have lived before us. That is what the institution of science is. So the idea that we're not going to collect taxes, we're not going to fund public science, we're not going to, because of anarchism doesn't have taxes, so then you don't have a state, so then you don't have public research. How are you going to possibly fund these things? How are you possibly going to fund scientific research? It's nonsense. The myth of this belief in authority itself and expands on what the proof is if you are honest with yourself. Yeah, yeah, dude, there is no belief in authority. Yeah, that's the thing, dude. People, I don't understand what you're saying. I've been very angry for months at the lot of them. Now I'm trying to understand the non-bigots. The current idiocy is the product of mass media, no rational voting after watching TV. Yeah, I agree, dude. It's the freaking AI, it's the social media feeds, man, that are doing this to us, not us. That's a good question, Duke Ray. That's a really good question. it's not a belief in authority, dude. It's a belief in expertise. You know, like there's an expertise to this thing that exists and that can be proven. Yeah. Do you think the community is necessary for science to be conducted? Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of. Hi, Jennifer. It's really frustrating, man, because like there were like especially in the early 1900s, in the late 1800s, there were like more flavors of politics. There were like, you know, especially after in the 1900s, in the late 1800s, you have like, you know, socialism, the rise of communism in the early 1900s, right? With the 1917 revolution in the USSR, and like, you know, there were a lot of anarchists, you know, in the United States, guys. There were, you know, there was a lot of people, you know, anarchists were like fundamental in the fight for human rights and for unions in our country. You know, the fight against capital. You know, in order to like ban child workplaces and stuff like that. You know, like think of that. You know, genuinely, if you ever think that we have an unsurmountable task ahead of us, imagine, you know, the late 1800s when a lot of your kids would be killed in factories. You know what I mean? And like, or the early 1900s with no child labor laws. You know, like, you know, the how insurmountable that must have felt. You know, how powerful and entrenched these lobbies and the power of capital and, you know, the machine and the industry with government versus what power do people have? What power do workers have? You know what I mean? And it's like, if you ever feel like you are powerless, think of the fight that was fought then and how they were successful, and like think about that. Like, wow, we have an easier task now. That's it's honestly probably the problem that we have is it's honestly still too good for people. That is the actual sad thing, is that even for how bad a lot of people have it nowadays, it isn't powerful enough to shake them up, to actually disrupt their life, because their entire life was this before. You know what I mean? Like, in order to fund unions and stuff like that. I mean, you had kids being killed in these warehouses. You had no freedom, you know, to live a life that if you're choosing, if you were a child, if you're a minority, if you're a woman, you know, that was your life. That was your life. You didn't have the choice of like, maybe I should go like be political today. You know, maybe I should go protest. It's like your entire life was a protest, right? Your entire life and your being was being a protest. Like being a woman and being educated was a protest in and of itself. Just existing. And we have kind of like created politics as this other thing that people can live outside of. You know, we can, you know, live in these bubbles that people don't vote. Like, think about that. That is wild to me. And yeah, it's sad. There's more bad and negative effects in social media than good. Clever Fox, I probably agree with you. Honestly, yeah. Especially since 2020, the rise of AI and the rise of yeah, I think that's what's pushing all these people to conspiracies. You know, for real. They have to acknowledge that there are valid experts in different fields. Yeah, like there's people that have dedicated their lives to these issues, and it's like it's not a bad thing. Actually, universal suffrage led to politics being influenced by emotional voting and risk aversion. I think no. I mean, I don't think that. I don't know about that. All right, guys. Well, I have to dad mode in the morning. It has been fun. Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. Women voting is a good thing, and I agree with universal voting for sure. That's pretty easy to, yeah, and yeah, it's a pretty good thing. You're being, yeah, sure, do great. Yeah. Larkin Rose. Yeah, I don't know what that. I don't yeah. Larkin Rose. Oh my God. Man, these guys at Larkin Rose, the author, has a YouTube channel. Interesting. Dude, he has an old school YouTube channel, just 2009. Just like him talking straight to camera. Old school. Just old school YouTube, dude. Yeah, I'm getting done. Wish I could be on early. Oh, it's okay, Nightflyer. Yeah, dude, men are emotional. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, do great. All good. Yeah. It's anyone blaming women, minorities, immigrants for their issues isn't an emotionally stable person. That is like, you have to, there's a lot more that you can do before it gets to everyone else in the world is the problem except for me. Like, come on, man. Come on, you got to do better. You got to do better at pushing yourself a little bit better there, So that's just my opinion, though, I guess. But I could be wrong. I'm just kidding. Uh, yeah, I know, Maria, right? It's so, it's like this vulnerable narcissism thing where it's like people, it's all about them. Like, man, these immigrants came here to mess with me, you know? And you're like, pretty sure they don't hate you at all. They want you to do better, and they want a better life for themselves and the people around them. Actually, like that's the thing though. Like with a lot of these, even these focus groups thing. Like I'm sorry. Like I grew up close to the border all my life. You know, I love Mexican culture. I love Spanish is such a beautiful language. I love the cultural diversity of Southern California. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna like. I would never sit there and means test and change my what I thought in regards to that because of some poll. I'm so like I don't care. I don't care if it's an unpopular opinion. I don't think that Biden screwed up on the border. I think that we're better off for those people being here. I think that it's okay that they're here and we did, and it's actually a huge economic driver for us. I I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry, but it's true. Yeah, K-Bug, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't. Part of me just feels like the people aren't advocating for immigrants, so people don't feel like they should be. Yeah. And I think that like I think that the Democratic Party did a bad thing in trying to like not forcefully, they didn't say it with their chest that like immigrants are good and this is why, and diversity of opinion and background is good and this is why, um and you know, and instead kind of said like we accept and love the Latino community because of, we're going to say Latinx from now on. You know, something like that, where it's like that's kind of that's kind of weird. That is kind of weird. I never in my life have ever seen anyone when I was growing up, and I can say that they're Mexicans that I grew up with because they all had like Mexican flags on their shirts and on their bags and stuff, which is cool. That was awesome. But like calling them Latinx, like they would never call themselves that. I've never heard one of them call each other Latinx. So exactly, it sounds very very performative. Yeah, but yeah, Charity, I agree. Yeah, exactly. It's so like it's like I I grew up in an all white town, and this is what people told me to say. So this is what I'm gonna say. You know, it's like that's honestly I love Pete Buttigieg, but that's the vibe that I get from him. Like whenever he goes on these shows and stuff, he's so just Clorox bleached white on everything, you know. Exactly, Willie. There you go. Exactly, Kung Fu. Like it really is really easy to fix it. It's just make it easier for people and the line to go shorter. And you need more people, more judges. You need to get people in through quicker, you know? That's it. That's it. It's really not hard. It shouldn't take 30 years in order to become a citizen. Come on. Or get your a green card after 20 years. I mean, that's just insane. It's so crazy. Exactly. Exactly, Kung Fu. All right. Wow, Rapture. Nice. That was a late meeting. Well, guys, I'm gonna head off. I gotta do dad stuff. Ooge, I don't understand you, bro. You're so funny. I literally do this for free, and it's so crazy because Ooge is that like, um, he is that like, I'm a super lefty, and he has like videos on class consciousness and all that kind of stuff. And here I am, right, doing something outside of the profit motive, and all he can think of is that I am here doing that for profit. Like, it's crazy. I am literally the person that is necessary to exist and to actually do things for the betterment of the society without. Yeah, you did. I've watched your videos, bro. Yeah, you're just like the boilerplate, like, you know, you're just a boring. Yeah, dude, because I am literally a scientist trying to give back to the community, dude. That's what I'm literally doing. I don't do any of this for money. I've done this since 2021. Like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like, even in your own politics, don't you, bro? I made $40 last week. Like, I don't make anything off of TikTok, man. I mean, $40 a week is like, I do this for 4 hours a night, dude. And is that worth all this time? Yes, dude, because I do things outside of the profit motive. Yes. No. No, it's not insane. No. See, that's the thing, is that this is why you are a performative leftist. You are so fake, man. You are so fake. This is like, it's just wild to me when people try to say, like, put on this, like, how many months subscriber are you for Hassan, dude? Like, how many months? Like, this performative fake leftist, like, think you're so cool, and then here you are going to people that are outside of the profit motive, actually trying to contribute and to build something, and just harassing them constantly. I don't tell people what meds they need, bro. Like, vaccines are preventative, but that's not. I don't. No, dude, you are a right wing reactionary. That's what you are. Like, you don't have anything. None of your viewpoints are left at all. So, no, you're not. You're not a socialist. No, you're not. So, yeah, you don't know what that word means. So, you're a Hassan socialist, bro. So you're a right wing reactionary, dude. You're just a right wing reactionary. So it's just boring. You're just boring. How many months sub are you on Hassan? Is that why you think you're a socialist? Let me guess. You're like, oh, I'm a 38 month uh sub to Hassan, dude. That's how my cred is. That's what my cred is. Oh my gosh, yeah, exactly. You're so fake, dude. You're so fake. You're so fake, dude. So funny, man. All right, guys. Yeah, dude. Yeah, you don't know who San is. Yeah. Yeah, sure. You don't know Hassanabi? You don't know who Hassan is? Hassan Piker? Are you out of your mind? Like, you don't, like, you're just so fake, man. You're just so fake. I hate that you think that you're a socialist, but it's, you know what? You know, so cringe, dude. It must be dusty down there. What are you talking about, dude? I'm literally, I have 4 kids. Like, what are you talking about? like, like, what are you talking about, dude? Yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. It's wild, man. Yeah, he's so weird. It's okay. It's the people that are like, I just hate how like the left and like socialism is become so aesthetic, and how people who have no idea about leftist values just go masquerading around calling themselves this, because it's like counterculture, you know, especially with the OJ probably never paid attention to politics until Trump or whatever, you know, whatever conservative party he is. I think he's in Australia or UK or something. So some conservative party came in, and then he's the counter. He's cool. It's just so frustrating, man. Because it's like, instead of trying to like coalition build or try to understand, it's like an attack, and it's wild because like people like me that are doing things like socialism inherently needs people that are doing things outside of the profit motive, outside of like the capital ownership drive, right? And that's what I'm literally doing here. I am literally trying to bring people education and effectively, I'm not going to say donating my time because I do get paid a small amount of money, but like do you really think that's why I'm here? Since 2020, 2021, I have like 5 views on a lot of my YouTube stuff. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the idea that you are pushing disinformation on people, like in a way, trying to like the idea of class consciousness in a group of people that you're trying to harm. It's just wild to me. It's just insane to me. Oh, thank you, Juliana. Oh, you're totally fine. But I come and support every day. Like, genuinely, thank you, Juliana. I appreciate you saying that. I don't care what vaccines people get, dude. I'm anti-virus. I'm anti-disease. Don't you understand that? Like, that's what it is. Yeah, see, like you're just anti-intellectual, dude. Like you don't, like you're not. You're just a reactionary, dude. That's just so crazy. It's so crazy, dude. It's just being like, just seeing someone. It's just so blows my mind, dude. But OJ, you are a victim, dude. You are a victim of misinformation, just like the Trump supporters in the world, and just like the anti-vaxxers in the world. And I will fight for a better future for you, and I will fight to help you as much as I can in my world and in my politics. Even if you don't agree with me, even if you think I'm fake, even if you think that I have malice when I don't, I will always fight to make your life better. So that's just what it is, dude. Because that's what an actual leftist is. That's what an actual leftist is, dude. Welcome. You can take notes, dude. You can take notes. All right. Yeah, I'm not wrong. So, yeah, exactly. All right, guys. I gotta go. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Take notes, OJ. Take notes, bro. I'll be your. You know what? I'll be your leftist content daddy. You know, it's okay. I will be your actual leftist content daddy, and you can watch me, bud. So it's okay. I'm never gonna ban you. I'm never gonna kick you out. So I think that I can reform you. I can re-educate you. This can be our little re-education camp. You know, I can thank you for the love. Thank you for NJ. Thank you. This can be our re-education camp for you, bud. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys. All right, I'm out of here for real though. Cricker, go ahead, go for it. Last question. What's the question? Yes, you should get Hep B vaccines for infants. Yeah. Yep. All right. I'm out of here. See you guys. That was crazy. We're going to finish the thing tomorrow. We're going to finish the report, the move forward for the Democrats. Oh my gosh. Whoa. We're out of here. We're going to finish the report tomorrow. It's going to be good. Peace. Come on. I can't do it. All right. See ya. Bye. Bye. See ya. Bye. YouTube. Yes, YouTube. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate you, YouTube.